Ghosty joined the COD League in Modern Warfare 2 and has sent shockwaves throughout the community, being a very talented young player who looks like he's going to have a bright future in COD Esports. But his journey to get here was unlike many other pro players, and he's made the most of his opportunity, now being a part of the new LA Thieves super team. So let's take a look at Ghosty's insane journey to get here and why this season could be his best one yet. In a podcast with Hex, Ghosty opened up about his tough upbringing that led him to the foster care system.
Definitely not an easy life. Family's pretty poor. Mom and dad were always separate, and then like both my parents are also drug addicts, to throw that in there. Like at the beginning, like when I was born, you know, my dad continued to do so, and then my mom just switched to alcohol, and now she's sober for the last almost 2 years. So that was definitely not the easiest. I definitely used video games as an escape. I emancipated myself when I was 15, 16.
What does that mean?
Putting yourself into the foster care system, and I just had to mature really fast.
Throughout his early life, he developed a deep passion for gaming. For him, gaming provided an escape, and he just so happened to be really good at it. I mean, really good. When he was just 12 years old, he was playing these COD jetpack titles, but due to the age restriction, he wasn't allowed to compete at a pro level. Instead, he made his own hit list of pro players he wanted to beat to prove that he could compete with the best of the best despite being only 12 years old. There's actually some screenshots of him beating OpTic in S&D and other players like Havoc. It's honestly really cool to see, especially knowing what we know now. He was grinding through these jetpack titles, but after Infinite Warfare, he had to focus on his personal life and take a step away from gaming during Black Ops 4 and World War II. So he spent 2 years away from video games. He came back during Modern Warfare 2019, and it was clear the talent had never left him. At this point, he just decided to play online matches, get his name out there, start building connections, as he was a newcomer in the scene again, but he had belief in himself and resilience to continue grinding and getting better. And not only was he really good at the game, he was also really talented in school, and I think he said he had like a 4.3 GPA, which allowed him to go to college at the University of Illinois, and there he joined the College COD League, which is a great alternative for people who don't want to play in challengers and want to grind at the amateur level but also get school done at the same time. And so that's what he did, and he started making a name for himself instantly in college COD. He was just better than pretty much everyone he was playing against. But the Cold War season was chalked up after Ghosty got banned.
Cold War was pretty good. I guess. And then I got banned for blues. There were daily pro points that you had to do. That would get you 15 points a day, and you can get up to 100 a week. And this was the dumbest concept ever. You would literally just play one and done HP. Oh, game battles. Game battles. So like people would do something called like blues. You would make a team or whatever, whoever, and you would give the other team the win, and then they would give you the win. Like someday you would like switch basically, and everyone like schedule with each other. So 7 days a week you get a win, 7 days a week you lose. And if you just have even like a smudge of proof, like one Twitter DM, GB bans you.
So he couldn't earn any points online, but he was able to return during the Vanguard season and picked up right where he left off. In fact, at this time he started playing challengers. In the Elite Season 1 qualifier, he dropped 60 on a Bocage hardpoint, which helped his team qualify and only showed his potential going forward. During the Vanguard season, it seemed like he kept on getting dropped. After the Elite, he got dropped for Pentagram and then joined Doug Sensor Martin's team. They got 48th, and then he got dropped and joined Clayster's team, eventually getting dropped again and then rejoining Sensor's team and even moving in with him at one point. Sensor's just a W teammate for that one. He matched up against Clayster when Clayster was going through his challengers run and knocked him out at the Boston LAN, which I thought was pretty interesting. It was really during his Vanguard season where Ghosty got his name out there and became a well-respected challengers player. It was only a matter of time before he got picked up on a team, but he spent the beginning of the MW2 season back in challengers playing on a team called Decimate. When I look at his performance, there's really not much else to say. Look at these stats: 1.3, 1.4, 1.35. Like, he was frying in the Boston Challengers Open and won first place with fellow Too Real and Yuli, and pro teams started hitting him up, but the stars were in alignment for Ghosty because the most prestigious org in the COD League, OpTic Texas, was going through changes of its own. During the MW2 season, Scump retired and the team was scrambling to find a solid roster for the rest of the season. They picked up Hook in place of Scump, had Illy, Shotzi, and Dashy, but OpTic was ready to move on from Illy. Hex decided to take a chance on this challengers player, which OpTic has never done before, and built one of the most unique rosters they've had in a while with Hook, Ghosty, Shotzi, and Dashy. I actually really enjoyed watching this squad in MW2, and it's just awesome that OpTic took a chance on Ghosty, and he seemed like he was up for the challenge. You had other people vouching for him like OpTic Parasite, who told Dashy about Ghosty's leadership skills and his ability to be an IGL, which OpTic needed at that point in the season. And Ghosty began his COD Pro journey on OpTic Texas in Stage 3 in Modern Warfare 2. In his debut match against LAG, the team was trying to figure out how to gel together, but ended up taking a victory. Ultimately, for Stage 3, they went 3-2, making the winners bracket. They even beat FaZe online, which was great for the OpTic FaZe storyline. And Major 3 was the Texas home major, so OpTic was getting a lot of love this tourney and used the crowd's energy to fuel a losers bracket run after falling 3-0 to Boston Breach. They even knocked out FaZe once again in losers finals, but Toronto Ultra got the better of them in their home major. Hey, but in Ghosty's first ever COD Pro LAN event, he placed second and had a 1.02 KD, but his best split would come during Major 4. He was really improving in SMD and becoming a dominant player, hoping to carry the team to first place in Stage 4. They would go on to make another dominant bracket run. This was the LAN event where there were no fans in attendance, and I remember this tournament, LA Thieves were just the better team. They were better than everyone this tournament and knocked out OpTic Texas in the grand finals. But once again, with Ghosty on their team, they placed second at another LAN event, with people saying Ghosty is a valuable player that can fix so many teams in the CDL. It just so happens that he plays with 3 other Slayers and is okay with being the hill kitten. Stats won't show it on the map, but he carries 90% of OpTic's comms and does so much work to let his teammates feel comfortable. And he was really locking in playing the OBJ. And in Stage 5, he had another consistent performance online, placing first online for the second time in a row. And he was getting praise from around the league about his consistency and ability to lead as a rookie. But somehow during Major 5, this happened during the MW3 season with OpTic too, they just completely fell off. It was just a drastic change from the previous majors with Ghosty and Hook and Shotzi didn't play well, and their entire game plan relies on them bullying teams. Dashy's performance also dipped. It's been a while since he had a crazy series, and Ghosty did not play very well either, dropping a 0.68 during Major 5, and they got double first rounded. You would think that things would get better going into champs, but OpTic continued their struggles, and it seemed like the team started falling apart towards the end of the season. But Ghosty had an experience like no other rookie because he got to join OpTic in his first season, which is just unheard of. Usually with COD pros, you got to work your way up to be on orgs like OpTic and FaZe, but Hex took a chance on Ghosty, and it ended up paying off because they had really good placings throughout MW2, and Ghosty got some really good experience in the league with some seasoned players. But even though all the players were talented, the team dynamic just wasn't working. They eventually released Hook and Ghosty going into Modern Warfare 3, and so Ghosty was looking for his next opportunity, and there were many teams who were taking a look at him. After his rookie season, Ghosty said, "This rookie season was an insane opportunity, and I couldn't have been more blessed to have been a part of the Green Wall. It was truly an honor to represent OpTic on the biggest stage, and thank you, Hex, for the chance. With that being said, I am an unrestricted free agent for next year." This one hurts. I get there's gonna be Slayer ARs to sign, but I'm gonna miss Dan. I came in as a rookie for the biggest org in the game and literally helped almost solely turn things around. Future is bright. I'll be a fan regardless of where he ends up. And so ahead of the Modern Warfare 3 season, it was a no-brainer Ghosty would get picked up, but the only question was where to. And we found out that answer on September 1st, 2023, when the LA Thieves announced their new roster rebuild after losing their championship squad entirely. So they had to rebuild with challengers players and picked up Ghosty to help lead the charge on a team of young players. And throughout this season, the expectations weren't high because they didn't have a bunch of like championship talent on their team. They're just young players trying to figure it out in the league. Plus, the roster went through a lot of team changes throughout the beginning of the season, ultimately ending up with Kremp, Joe Deceives, Nasty, and Ghosty for the rest of the season. But one thing about Ghosty that we've seen this season, despite having poor placements, was that he is an extremely consistent player. Even when his teammates aren't playing well, he's always trying to play for the win. And I think he really motivated his teammates throughout the season, because you can see they placed top 12, but towards the end of the season, it seemed like they started figuring things out. During Stage 4, they placed 4th, and then at Major 4, they placed top 6. But in the final 2 events, when it mattered most, in Ghosty's second year, during COD Champs, this young LA Thieves team made a pretty incredible bracket run to place top 4 at Champs. I mean, they knocked out Toronto Ultra in the first round. Ghosty was even chirping a little bit, and Ghosty helped to lead his team to a top 4 finish, winning 106 60K. Not only that, during the Esports World Cup, which wasn't part of the CDL season, but was like its own separate event, Ghosty and 100 Thieves continued to prove their resilience against the other pro teams. Ghosty dropped a 0.9 in this event and wasn't as good as he usually is. Regardless, he still helped the team push through and get a second place finish with their biggest bag of the entire season, winning 320K. And despite not having the best placements, it was clear that Ghosty is one of the most promising young talents in this league. I mean, looking at these breaking point player cards, it gives you more of a visual breakdown of how his season went during Modern Warfare 3. You see the records weren't always the best, but he contributed in each game mode and provided a lot of pressure as a slaying AR. And it just goes to show how much he contributed to this team because they decided to keep him for another season going into Black Ops 6. They dropped everyone else off the roster, but just kept Dan Ghosty, which I think was an amazing decision. Ghosty went from college COD to Sensor to another challenger team to OpTic to LAT, and now he's here. What a journey. And honestly, probably one of the most deserving pros too, if you hear his story. What a crazy 18 months it's been for him. Now going into Black Ops 6, Ghosty has an amazing team around him, as Nadeshot was able to pull some strings and get Scrap, Hydra, and Envoy on to Los Angeles Thieves going into Black Ops 6. And this is considered the new super team in the Call of Duty League. And they even won Kayson's showdown event against OpTic FaZe and Cloud9. This team is looking really promising, and Ghosty is a great player for this squad. And honestly, he would be a great player for a lot of teams in the CDL because you don't see a lot of players who are able to be a consistent slayer, but also having the other attributes like being an IGL and just being a smart player in general. In my opinion, he's the most promising up-and-coming young player in the CDL right now, and he showed great upside from the last 2 seasons. And after hearing his inspiring story, it just makes you want to root for this kid even more. So I'm excited to see what he does with this squad. This could be one of his best chances at winning a championship. He had a great opportunity in MW2 as well, but now he has more experience behind him. And I mean, you got Scrap and Hydra. That's ridiculous. So we'll see if Ghosty can go out his former team and take him down this season. But what do you guys think of Ghosty's COD career and his journey to get here? I mean, it's been pretty insane to say the least, but he showed resilience and made the most for himself. So shout out to Ghosty, man, and I can't wait to see what he does in the future. If you enjoyed this video, you gotta check out my recent video where I talked about another promising rookie in the CDL, and I hope you have a great week. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, peace.